Everyone in the city knew that the Shanghai heiress's beloved man had jumped into the sea 3 years ago. Everyone believed he was dead. Even Su Nianxin, who refused to believe it most, had to accept that cruel truth. Yet now, the face she had yearned for day and night appeared before her in the flesh. I was sitting miserably on the ground, surrounded by a group of burly men. Blood had spread across my head and clothes. I looked utterly wretched. I seemed unable to stand. No one around me was willing to help. Helplessly, I braced my hands against the ground, trying again and again, but never managing to rise. The pain filled my eyes with tears. They swirled in my eyes, yet stubbornly refused to fall. The instant Su Nianxin saw me, her breath caught. She stared fixedly at my face. It was as if her heart had been violently clenched. A wave of heartbreak surged through her. Her eyes slowly reddened. After a long while, she slowly lifted her foot, as if waking from a dream. Step by step, she came toward me. A moo. Her voice was terribly hoarse, as though something blocked her throat. Even she could barely hear herself. My features, bearing, and eyes were exactly as they had been. It broke Su Nianxin's heart, but her heartache was quickly replaced by blazing fury. Lay another hand on him, and see what happens. The moment Su Nianxin finished speaking, a man's agonized scream rang out. Her bodyguard had forced the man's hand open. Hearing that voice, both familiar and strange, my shoulders jolted. I froze, afraid to look up. I feared it was her, and feared it was not. In an instant, the shouting around me stopped. A pair of high heels appeared before me. Someone crouched down in front of me, softly calling, "Chen Mu." In disbelief, I slowly raised my eyes. Gradually, I made out that beautiful, familiar face. At last, I met Su Nianxin's reddened eyes. My shoulders began trembling uncontrollably again. Tears finally burst from my eyes. Su Nianxin finally knew for certain. The man before her was the one she had longed for every day for 3 years. The lover she had never found. Suppressing her rage, she said nothing. She only carefully used her expensive coat to gently wipe my face. She did not care if the costly coat got dirty. The moment I collapsed into Su Nianxin's arms, she held me tightly, as if I were the world's most precious treasure. The onlookers exchanged curious looks, quietly wondering about this distinguished woman and this seemingly mute young man. What was their relationship? Were they siblings, or a patron and her kept man? No one knew. I was the priceless treasure Su Nianxin had lost and found again. She had searched for me for 3 whole years. During those 3 years, she had nearly gone mad. Every day had been worse than death, treating me like something incredibly fragile, like a breakable treasure. Su Nianxin gently led me to the car and helped me inside. The driver saw the coldness in the young heiress's eyes as she returned holding a filthy man's hand. He was briefly stunned, but quickly recovered. He hurried out, opened the door, and raised the privacy partition. Su Nianxin ordered coldly, "Get the surveillance footage. Find out exactly what happened. Do not let anyone who bullied him get away." The driver immediately pulled over, then rushed off to carry out her orders. Only Su Nianxin and I remained in the car. I released the hand I had been clutching. Seeing egg smeared on her coat, I was suddenly filled with fear. My eyes were full of panic and tension. I curled up like a frightened little animal, afraid of dirtying the clean seat. I dared not look Su Nianxin in the eye. My whole body trembled slightly. My miserable state fell into Su Nianxin's sight and stabbed at her heart. Her pupils contracted sharply. 3 years later, and he still rejects me. Am I truly that frightening? What did you go through these past 3 years? Where did you go? You were alive. Why did you not come find me? Have you been all right these years? Su Nianxin was full of questions, but this was not the time to ask them. I merely stayed silent, so still it was as if I did not exist. Su Nianxin brought tissues and a towel, gently and carefully wiping my hair and the dirt from my face. The grime on my face could be wiped away, but the egg in my hair would need washing out. I sat there stiffly. Whenever Su Nianxin touched me, my entire body tensed without my control, as if I were something fragile about to shatter. At last, Su Nianxin could not hold back. She opened her arms and pulled me tightly against her. Feeling my warm body heat, she finally knew this was not an illusion. The man before her was real. I did not dare move. Su Nianxin held me tight, only reluctantly releasing me after a long time. Her hungry, obsessed gaze could not bear to leave my face for even a moment. She feared I would vanish the instant she looked away. Then, in a hoarse voice, she softly called, "Husband." The word husband carried a trace of tears and bitterness. as if speaking any louder would frighten me away. Hearing that name, the pain in my heart, bitterness, despair, and humiliation all surged up at once. Tears streamed down my face. Nianxin hurriedly comforted me, telling me not to cry. But the more she comforted me, the harder I cried. Yet I could not say a word. Even my crying made no sound. I could only struggle to hold myself back. Nianxin's heart ached unbearably. She hugged me tightly again, gently murmuring, "Husband, be good." Less than 10 minutes later, the driver returned after handling everything. He held surveillance footage from a storefront. With this crucial evidence, dealing with the aftermath would be much easier. Not one of those bullies would escape. Nianxin took the footage and told the driver to head home. The driver had never met me before, but Nianxin's reaction and attitude told him all he needed to know. That battered man being bullied on the street had to be Mr. Chen Mu, who had vanished 3 years ago. After over an hour of silence, the car stopped outside the Su residence. The driver got out first and respectfully opened the door. Nianxin led me from the car. All the Su household staff had been replaced 3 years ago. These were all unfamiliar faces. They watched the young heiress lead in a thoroughly disheveled man, their minds full of questions. They all speculated about his identity. Was he the young heiress's lover, or someone who resembled Mr. Chen? But no one believed he was really me. After all, everyone was convinced I had died at sea 3 years ago. Though they were dying of curiosity, no one dared ask. They could only watch as the young heiress led the bedraggled man upstairs toward her bedroom, then closed the door. Upstairs, Nianxin led me into the bathroom and turned on the shower. Warm water cascaded down, instantly soaking our clothes. Seeing my frown, silence, and unsteady stance, she softly asked, "Did you twist your ankle? Does it hurt?" Dazed, I shook my head. It was unclear whether I meant I had not hurt my ankle, or simply did not want to answer her. Nianxin carefully lifted my foot to inspect it. There was no visible wound, but my ankle was indeed swollen. "Do not move. I will get some ointment." With that, she left briefly and soon returned. I was still hanging my head, my vacant eyes fixed on the floor. Hearing her footsteps, my body immediately tensed again. Nianxin felt that I was now like a small animal that's startled at the slightest thing. So she made her voice as gentle as possible, afraid of frightening me. "You still need to take a shower. We can apply the ointment afterward. Husband, I am not a bad person. Do not be afraid. I will not hurt you." But I still did not make a sound. From beginning to end, aside from silently crying once in the car, I had barely spoken to her. A flash of hurt passed through Nianxin's eyes. But she could not bear to force me to speak. If he does not want to talk, then he does not have to. Now that I was safely standing before her, she was already more than content. She did not dare ask for anything more. She only wished for me to be safe and well. "Take a shower first, then change into clean clothes." As she spoke, Nianxin reached over to help me undress. But I instinctively recoiled. My obvious rejection left her frozen. Her hand hung in midair, and the light in her eyes instantly dimmed, revealing a trace of hurt. But I did not notice any of it. Nianxin more or less understood. I did not want her to touch me, though we were husband and wife, and once had been inseparable. 3 years had passed after all. It was only natural that I might resist her. "It is all right. We will take it slowly," she murmured to herself. She only assumed I had grown distant from her. So she gave up on helping me undress. Though she felt a little helpless, her eyes were still full of tenderness for me. She gently touched my cheek and asked softly, "You twisted your ankle, so it is hard for you to move around. Would you like me to stay and help you bathe?" Hearing that she wanted to stay, panic rose in my heart. Remembering everything from before, I felt embarrassed. I stiffly shook my head. The last shred of hope in Nianxin's heart shattered. She knew I wanted to wash on my own, though she desperately wanted to stay and look after me. Seeing me tremble so fearfully, afraid of her and pushing her away, she could only swallow her bitterness and frustration. Nianxin still replied patiently, "Then wash by yourself. Call me if you need anything. Do not rush. Take your time." I gave a slight nod. She brought me slippers and a chair. Only after making sure everything was in order did she leave, gently closing the door behind her. My tense body slowly relaxed. I sat on the stool, letting the shower's hot water pour over my head. I wrapped my arms tightly around my knees. Thinking back on my years on the run, I had escaped from the Shi family. I had meant to return and find Chen Mu, my only blood relative. But I ran into trouble the moment I arrived. In an alley, I ran into several muggers. They knocked me to the ground. A woman passing by stepped in to help and called the police. I thought she was a good person, but she was not as kind and gentle as she appeared. Her gaze grew increasingly unsettling, and she even started touching me inappropriately. Then her husband appeared, and she insisted that I had seduced her. Then they surrounded me, attacking and cursing at me. And soon Nianxin happened to see me at my most humiliated. I was overwhelmed by despair and shame. The hot water ran over me for a long time, before my body gradually warmed. But my thoughts were still a mess. My heart filled with confusion and fear. 3 years had passed. Soon Nianxin might already have another man. Besides, I was no longer the Chen Mu I used to be. My vocal cords were damaged. I was mute. How could Su Nianxin possibly still accept me? Someone as proud as her would surely look down on me. That was why I had always feared returning, and did not dare seek her out. And the Shi family had kept relentlessly pursuing me, leaving me both hopeless and ashamed. I buried my head between my knees. The corners of my eyes reddened, and my nose stung with tears. It took me a full half-hour to finish showering. Throughout that time, Su Nianxin never entered the bathroom. Once I had changed into clean clothes, I wrapped my hair in a towel and slowly walked to the door. The moment I opened it, I heard a voice outside ask, "Are you done?" I could not answer her with words. I could only open the door. Su Nianxin glanced at me, then turned to get a hairdryer. I secretly raised my head to watch her tall, graceful figure from behind. But when she turned around, I quickly looked away. Su Nianxin noticed my little gesture. She paused in surprise. Then the corner of her lips gently lifted. She came before me and crouched on one knee. "I am your wife. If you want to look at me, look openly. Do not sneak glances when you think I am not looking." I immediately felt embarrassed. Out of habit, I lifted my hand to gesture, but my arm suddenly froze. Then I came to my senses and hurriedly pulled it back. My face went deathly pale, and the corners of my mouth trembled violently. At last, Su Nianxin noticed something was wrong. Ever since I had seen her, I had not voluntarily said a single word. She had thought I simply did not want to speak to her. After all, because of her, I had suffered those terrifying, desperate things. She thought I might hate her, and I had cried so heartbreakingly. In her arms, yet never made a sound. She assumed I was forcing myself to suppress my emotions. But when she saw the gesture I had just made, a dreadful suspicion rose in Su Nianxin's heart. She did not even dare think any further. The bedroom was so silent that a pin drop could be heard. One of us sat at the edge of the bed. The other crouched on the floor. Neither of us spoke. "Amu." Su Nianxin's voice was hoarse. As she broke the silence, my body tightened even further. Tension and fear tangled together. Su Nianxin took both my hands. Though I had just showered, my hands were still ice-cold. Her heart ached terribly. Her eyes never left me, and her voice trembled as she said, "Amu, will you say something? Let me hear your voice. Thank you for coming back so I could find you. Amu, how have you been these past 3 years? Do you know, when I couldn't find you, how much I missed you?" Su Nianxin's voice was gentle. Her simple words, "I miss you," made tears silently slide from my eyes. She rose and drew me into her arms, gently stroking my hair and soothing me with tender words. Her hands trembled slightly, watching my tears flow without end. Her heart felt as though sharp thorns were stabbing into it. The pain was stronger than anything she had ever known. Su Nianxin cupped my face and gently wiped my eyes. When I did not resist, she tentatively, carefully caressed my cheeks and the tip of my nose. I wept as if my heart were breaking. Su Nianxin's eyes reddened as well. She treated me like a priceless treasure, gentle and cautious in every touch. Her heartbreak turned to tender pity. As she kept soothing me, slowly calming my emotions, she forcibly held back her own emotions, and did not ask any more questions. She simply picked up the hairdryer and dried my hair. Once my hair was dry, Su Nianxin silently sat beside me, and gently applied ointment to my sprained ankle. I sat nearby, my face full of nervous uncertainty. I looked as if I wanted to say something, while my hands fidgeted anxiously in my lap. Su Nianxin came over to me, and suddenly leaned close. She gently stroked my face, then slowly slid her hand down to my throat. She softly asked, "Is something wrong here?" Hearing that, my tears came pouring out. I tried desperately to control them, but they would not stop. Every word Su Nianxin said made me want to cry. My hurt, bitterness, helplessness, and despair all became tears. I could not say anything. Even my sobs made no sound. At that moment, I longed desperately to call her name, to tell her how much I had missed her. I also wanted to tell her a secret. I had fallen deeply in love with her long ago. My feelings for her had even surpassed what I felt for Liu Ryan. Though Su Nianxin had once been spoiled, willful, and overbearing, somewhere along the way, as we spent time together, my heart had already chosen her. But now, I could not tell her any of it myself. The thought made my heart ache even more. Su Nianxin's heart broke for me. Her eyes and features overflowed with tenderness. She gently wiped away my tears, then kissed my eyes. Her gaze was full of affection and pity. After a while, Su Nianxin stood and made a call in front of me. As she spoke, her eyes never left me. With her watching me like that, I felt a little embarrassed. I lowered my head and pretended to inspect my ankle. But inside, I was terribly nervous. 3 years ago, she and I entered a contract marriage. I slept beside her every night. Back then, I still resented her. So I always thought she was awful and unreasonable. Now that I understood my own feelings, I barely dared meet her eyes. Under her burning gaze, my heart began pounding wildly. Su Nianxin said a few words, then ended the call. I heard her tell someone to come over, but I did not know who she had called. I could not help feeling curious. She put down her phone, then reopened it and opened the Notes app. But she did not hand it to me. She came over to me and asked if I knew sign language. I nodded, secretly watching her expression. There was not a trace of disgust or disdain on her face. That gave me some comfort. There was no impatience in her eyes either. It was as if, even knowing I could not speak, she did not mind at all. That eased my fears a little. After hesitating for a moment, I tried signing in the air, carefully watching her reaction. But unfortunately, she did not understand me. Bitterness immediately welled inside me. Su Nianxin's gaze was complicated. I knew she did not understand sign language. After all, she had never known anyone who could not speak. Naturally, she had never learned it. When I thought of all the barriers we might face in communicating, having to rely on texting or writing, unable even to have a normal phone call, I felt utterly helpless and hopeless. My eyes gradually dimmed, my heart filled with bitterness and uncertainty, along with overwhelming panic. The future was a blur before me. I did not dare express myself first, afraid my hopes would be crushed, and even more afraid of being mocked or hurt. At that moment, I truly felt timid and insecure. Su Nianxin looked at me, as if she understood what I feared. She did not want to see me so lost and heartbroken again. After all, I was someone precious beyond measure to her. She gently stroked my head. Her voice was low but resolute as she said, "You came back to me alive. That alone is enough for me. As long as you are by my side, nothing else matters. Whether you can speak will never change how I feel about you. I do not know sign language yet, but that does not mean I cannot learn. You do not need to be afraid, understand?" I looked at Su Nianxin intently, my heart a tangled mess of emotions. I never expected her to say such things. She was truly good at comforting people. From what I knew of her before, Su Nianxin had always held a position of privilege. She was used to getting her way. She had never comforted anyone before, nor did she fuss over many things. But she had changed so much over these 3 years. I had assumed it was normal for her to say things that infuriated me. Yet her gentleness now exceeded all my expectations. These were not empty sweet words. It was the sincerity shining in her eyes. That moved me deeply. My heart ached beyond words. I wanted to reach out and touch her face, but did not dare in the end. Over these 3 years, the change in Su Nianxin's bearing was especially obvious. She had become ever more cold and distant, giving off an icy air that kept everyone at a distance. Tentatively, I reached out and covered her eyes. Even then, the corners of her mouth still held a chill. Her expression detached. Only when she looked at me did her eyes become different. I lowered my hand and studied her face and eyes. The instant our eyes met, my heartbeat suddenly sped up. I hurriedly looked away. Su Nianxin smiled at that. I pretended not to notice, then turned to pick up her phone and hand it to her. Then I noticed the phone screen was locked. It required a passcode. I did not know whether it was still the same passcode as before, so I did not try it. Su Nianxin immediately understood. She knew I wanted to say something, so she slowly entered several numbers, deliberately reading them aloud, afraid I had not seen or remembered them. Only then did she hand me the phone. I took it. I paused when I saw the messages on the screen, then quickly typed, "I lost my phone." Su Nianxin replied, "I will buy you a new one tomorrow." I pressed my lips together. and nodded softly. I wanted to ask whether she had been searching for me all along, but the question felt unnecessary. So I deleted the words. I stared blankly at the screen. For a moment, I did not know what to say, or where to begin. Too many questions had built up inside me. Had she been well all these years? Had she misunderstood me? Had she been angry with me? Was she still grieving for me? Was there another man by her side? The thoughts made my heart ache terribly. After hesitating for a long time, I finally gathered my courage and typed, "Have you been searching for me all along?" When Su Nianxin saw it, she replied, "Yes, I have been looking for you all along." She never believed I was dead. She had searched desperately all these years. Alive, she had to see me in person. Dead, she had to see my body. Otherwise, she would believe I was still somewhere in this world, and keep looking year after year. I was the love she held closest to her heart. How could she ever give up so easily? Even though she had never found me, she could never bring herself to let me go. No one could truly understand the agony of that loss. I kept typing. This time, it took me longer. Su Nianxin remained patient throughout. There was not a hint of impatience on her face. After finishing a long message, I handed the phone to Su Nianxin. It read, "I did not leave on my own back then. That day, after you left, he deceived me and hypnotized me. I had no idea how I left. When I came to, I was already standing on a ship. Endless ocean surrounded me. He said many vicious things, then hypnotized me again. I jumped into the sea. Luckily, a small fishing boat rescued me. I was unconscious for nearly 2 years before waking up. When I woke, my body was terribly weak. My throat could not make a sound. I could not even hear myself speak. At first, I thought something was wrong with my ears. After an examination, I learned my vocal cords were damaged. I would never be able to speak normally again. At first, I was utterly hopeless. I nearly gave up on myself. More than once, I even thought of ending my life. I felt there was no point in living. But whenever I thought of you, Su Nianxin, I feared you would be heartbroken. So I pushed those thoughts away. I did not give up on myself. Later, I began learning sign language. It took me a year. I once wanted to come back and find you, but I overheard that you seemed to be with another man. I was devastated then, thinking you no longer needed me. After Su Nianxin finished reading, I took the phone back. Then I typed another line. What happened to the person who hurt me? Has he taken my place already? After I sent the message, Su Nianxin read every word. Her expression grew increasingly grave. When she reached that final question, her eyes instantly filled with icy rage. She replied in a cold, heavy voice, "That man is dead. Because he hurt you." I was stunned. I had no idea about any of this. Before I could ask, she continued, "He was utterly vicious. He could even harm his own twin brother. Even if he died 100, 1,000 times, it would never atone for what he did. Worse still, he made me lose you for 3 whole years." Then her tone shifted as she blamed herself. "I bear responsibility too." The corners of her eyes were red, filled with exhaustion and pain. My heart twisted painfully. I hurriedly signed, "It is not your fault." Though Su Nianxin could not understand my signs, she gazed at me. Her eyes held sorrow, guilt, and endless tenderness. She slowly continued, "I lost you, and I could not find you for so long. Do you resent me? I was too careless. I gave that man an opening. I failed to protect you. For these 3 years, every minute, every second, she had been consumed by pain and self-blame. She believed that man got what he deserved, but she also held herself accountable. My nose stung, and my eyes welled up. I gently shook my head and softly cupped Su Nianxin's face. This woman, usually so untouchable. Her eyes were red too. I desperately wanted to comfort her, to let her know I had never blamed her. But in the next instant, a small hand suddenly gripped my wrist tightly. Then, I was pulled into a slightly cool embrace. Su Nianxin's voice was low and choked with emotion. "Mu, I am sorry. It is all my fault. It does not matter whether you forgive me. As long as you do not leave me, let me take care of you for the rest of my life. That would be enough for me." Her voice shook with tears. "I will never force you again. I will never mistreat you again. As long as you stay by my side. I want nothing else." When had she ever said anything so humble? Breathing in her familiar scent, my nose stung again. Holding back my tears, I slowly wrapped my arms around her. She immediately tightened her arms, holding me close. She buried her face deeply in my neck. We held each other in silence, as if, in that moment, we had finally found where our souls belonged. After a long while, I shifted slightly. My neck had gone a little numb. Only then did Su Nianxin slowly let me go. Though I made no sound, my lips clearly said, "Darling." Su Nianxin's eyes immediately welled with tears. Trembling with excitement, she eagerly asked, "Darling, what did you just call me?" I did not try to speak again. My eyes curved softly, and I gave her a faint smile. That smile made my features even more captivating. My eyes were as clear as stars sparkling in the night sky, as though they could banish every shadow from one's heart. Su Nianxin's heart surged with emotion. Even without my nod of confirmation, she was certain she had not seen wrong. Those were the words my lips had formed. Su Nianxin smiled too. Her smile was so enchanting that one's gaze was drawn to it. Unable to look away, I was completely captivated by her smile. Gathering a little courage, I took out my phone under her tender gaze. I asked the question buried in my heart. These past 3 years, have you been with another man? When she saw the question, my heart leaped into my throat. I was anxious and uneasy, terrified of hearing a cruel answer. Yet when Su Nianxin read it, she first frowned, her expression darkening. My heart instantly sank. But then she suddenly gave a soft laugh. She looked up at me and said, "No. Even now, you are the only one in my heart." Part of me did not quite believe her. I could not help doubting her in secret. Was Su Nianxin lying? I could not tell. After all, I had heard rumors before. They said she came and went with other men, and had even embraced one. Those reports could not have been completely baseless, could they? Su Nianxin thought seriously for a moment. Whom had she hugged? Why could she not remember anyone at all, other than me? She racked her brain but could think of no one. And as for coming and going with someone, that was a completely false accusation. "Hey Mu, are you jealous?" Her gaze softened. She affectionately stroked my head, and patiently explained in a gentle voice, "Where did you hear that gossip? Who did they say I came and went with? And who did they say I hugged? Why do I not remember any of it? There is no room in my heart for any man but you. Honey, you've got your wife all wrong. Was it really all just a misunderstanding? Could that man have never existed at all? Could that truly be it?" Su Nianxin continued explaining patiently. "Was it because of these misunderstandings that you refused to come home? For 13 years, you have been the only one in my heart. During the 3 years you were gone, I could not find you. No matter how heartbroken I was, I would not be foolish enough to seek comfort from another man. Hey Mu, do you know how much I love you? Without you, I truly do not know how to go on living." Su Nianxin's voice was low and gentle. Her eyes were bright and utterly sincere, yet her final words brought an inexplicable ache to my heart. I tried to force a smile, but could not. I wanted to cry, but fought desperately to hold back my tears. My lips parted slightly. I tried to call out Nianxin, but the sound caught in my throat. So she would not see me like this, so vulnerable. I reached out and gently looped my arms around her neck, looking into her slightly reddened eyes. I slowly moved closer. When our breaths mingled, I gently pressed my lips to the corner of her mouth. After that terrifying ordeal, I was exhausted in body and mind. I took a warm bath. In Su Nianxin's warm embrace, I gradually relaxed, and finally fell peacefully asleep. When Lu Han rushed over, Su Nianxin had him thrown straight out of the house. Lu Han stood outside, utterly bewildered. He could not understand at all what Miss Su was playing at. She had summoned him all the way across town, yet had not even offered him a cup of hot water, and unceremoniously thrown him out. Was she not deliberately messing with him? The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. He immediately called Su Nianxin, wanting to know what was going on, but she would not answer. Helplessly, he could only stand at the entrance, with nothing to do, and casually plucked a leaf from a landscaping tree. When he called again, she hung up on him outright. That finally ignited Lu Han's temper. He felt Su Nianxin had gone too far this time. After several calls in a row, she finally answered. Su Nianxin's voice was low and icy. "What is it?" Lu Han's heart skipped a beat. He hesitated, then asked, "Miss Su, you called me over, then had me thrown out. What exactly is that supposed to mean?" Su Nianxin replied coldly, "I do not need you now." Lu Han pressed, "Who do you not need?" Su Nianxin said icily, I do not need you. Lu Han had no idea that Su Nianxin had brought a man home. He assumed Miss Su's headaches had struck again, and the pain had become unbearable, so she had urgently summoned him. He was full of confusion. Why would she have a headache in broad daylight? So he asked with concern, "Did your headache strike again just now? I have never seen it happen during the day. Unless something upset you. Afraid of waking me." Su Nianxin lowered her voice and said expressionlessly, "It is nothing. I'm hanging up." Lu Han listened to the dead line. He shook his head helplessly, thinking she had hung up far too quickly. He had not even finished speaking. Lu Han's car had broken down on the way over. He had no idea who had tampered with it. With no other choice, he rode an electric scooter over. His medical case was on the scooter too. After riding a short distance, he sensed something was wrong with it. It was struggling to move, as if it had no strength left. Lu Han quickly checked and found the rear tire was flat. He was utterly frustrated. What had been going on lately? First his car had problems, and now his scooter was broken too. Could he be so handsome that even vehicles were jealous? He glanced at the rearview mirror. He certainly did look decent, but not so handsome that I could stop traffic. So why did his tires keep going flat for no reason? As he brooded, he saw several servants returning from the vegetable garden with produce. They were chatting quietly. When they saw Lu Han, they greeted him with smiles. "Dr. Lu, what brings you here? Is Miss Su having another headache?" Lu Han shook his head. "No, I thought so too. At first," one servant added. "If it is not Miss Su, then it is probably about that man." Lu Han froze. "What man?" The servant explained. "Dr. Lu, you do not know yet. Miss Su brought a man home a few hours ago. She may have called you here to see whether that man was injured or not." Lu Han was shocked. As Su Nianxin's personal physician, he knew why she often suffered headaches at night. It was because Su Nianxin deeply loved her husband, Chen Mu. Sadly, that man had jumped into the sea. Lu Han had always believed he had never met anyone like Su Nianxin. So beautiful and so devoted. Lu Han had secretly hoped he might have a chance with her. But now, hearing that Su Nianxin had brought a man home, his dreams shattered in an instant. Miss Su really brought a man home? Lu Han asked in disbelief. The servants nodded firmly. That confirmed it. His beautiful image of Su Nianxin vanished like a bubble. A mocking smile touched his lips. So this was all a woman's devotion amounted to. In just 3 years, she had found someone new and forgotten her old love. Lu Han pushed his electric scooter slowly home with mixed feelings. He had barely entered, medical case still in hand, when his phone suddenly rang. The moment he heard that custom ringtone, he knew Su Nianxin was calling. He was filled with helplessness. But he did not dare lose his temper. Su Nianxin paid for his food, housing, and salary. He could not afford to offend his meal ticket. Besides, Su Nianxin did not have the best temper. Lu Han reluctantly answered, "Miss Su, is something wrong?" Su Nianxin said coldly, "Come over now." Lu Han complained inwardly. Did she not know how excessive it was to jerk people around like this? But he could only endure it in silence. All his resentment had nowhere to go but his heart. Suddenly, a loud crash rang out. The sound of something hitting the floor jolted me awake. My heart began pounding wildly. A flash of apology crossed Su Nianxin's eyes. Looking at me, she said softly, "I am sorry. I scared you." It turned out, she had accidentally knocked a vase off the cabinet. When I first woke up, I was still dazed. I thought I was still dreaming. My whole mind was unsettled. Once my heartbeat slowly steadied, Su Nianxin reached out and gently stroked my head. In a tender voice, she said, "Be good. Go back to sleep for a while." But I shook my head, signaling that I did not want to sleep anymore. Su Nianxin then asked whether I was hungry. She said I had slept for over an hour. She had already instructed someone to prepare a whole table of my favorite dishes, waiting only for me to wake. Truthfully, I had little appetite then, but thinking of all the dishes she had carefully prepared for me, I could not bring myself to refuse. She took my hand and slowly led me downstairs. When we entered the dining room, there was no one else there. Only the chef was busy in the kitchen. Hearing these dishes were for Mr. Chen, the chef had put special care into making them. I looked around. The Su home had barely changed in 3 years. The placement of the furniture, even my beloved jasmine flowers, were exactly as before. Seeing everything so familiar, in my heart, an indescribably complicated emotion rose within me. The flutter in my chest was especially strong. It was as if everything in the Su home had remained in the past, except for me. the man who had once been the master of the Su home. During the meal, I barely had to lift a hand. Su Nianxin carefully picked up the dishes I liked and placed them in my bowl, yet she herself barely ate. Her gaze was almost always fixed on me. Watching me eat, I placed a piece of food into her bowl. She hesitated slightly before slowly putting it into her mouth, but she ate it very slowly, as though it tasted awful. Her behavior left me deeply confused. Her expression was grave, as if she were forcing herself to endure something. I felt helpless and at a loss. After all, I could not speak. If Su Nianxin did not watch my lips, she would have no idea what I was saying. Distracted, I finished a bowl of rice. I had not even noticed what I was eating. After the meal, Su Nianxin led me upstairs. The moment we left, Lu Han arrived, panting heavily. "Where is Miss Su?" he asked the housekeeper clearing the dishes. The housekeeper answered. Miss Su and Mr. Chen went upstairs. Who, Mr. Chen? Lu Han could hardly believe his ears. His mind raced with doubts. What spell had this man cast on Su Nianxin? She had just brought him home and already called him Mr. Chen. What about her former husband, Chen Mu? Was she not afraid her late husband would never rest in peace? Lu Han did not dare go upstairs directly. Instead, he asked the housekeeper, "Please let Miss Su know I am here." The housekeeper replied, "Of course, Mr. Lu. Please have a seat for now." He sat on the sofa, feeling vaguely uneasy. After a while, the housekeeper came downstairs with a message. "Mr. Lu, Miss Su would like to see you in her room." Lu Han did not think much of it. He picked up his medical case and went upstairs. When he reached the master bedroom, a guest room several doors away opened. Su Nianxin stepped out. Lu Han paused in surprise, but asked no questions. Carrying his medical case, he hurried over. After entering the room, Lu Han saw me inside. He could not help studying me more closely. I looked up, and our eyes met. Lu Han looked as though he had seen a ghost. His eyes went wide. His medical case fell to the floor with a bang. He was clearly terrified. I froze. I did not understand his reaction. I turned to Su Nianxin. Su Nianxin frowned and said coldly, "What is with that expression? You look like you have seen a ghost." Only then did Lu Han realize he had lost his composure. The shock had been overwhelming. He had not yet recovered. His mind was full of questions. Had Chen Mu not died 3 years ago? Su Nianxin had never accepted that fact. She kept sending people to search everywhere. Though every search was in vain, he could not help wondering, could this man have had surgery to look exactly like Chen Mu, hoping to get close to Su Nianxin and claim Chen Mu's place in the Su family? If this truly was his scheme, that would be terrifying. With that thought, goosebumps rose all over him as he looked at me. He felt panic. Su Nianxin's expression darkened further. She demanded coldly, "What are you afraid of?" Lu Han hurriedly shook his head. No, no, no. I am not afraid." Lu Han gathered his courage and asked Su Nianxin, "Is he really Mr. Chen? Is your husband really alive?" Su Nianxin's face turned even colder. Lu Han immediately realized he had said the wrong thing. He quickly added, "Miss Su, please do not be angry. I mean, is he really Chen Mu?" Su Nianxin nodded. Lu Han feared Su Nianxin had mistaken his identity and been deceived. So he cautiously asked again, "Is he truly Chen Mu? Did he not jump into the sea? How could he be all right?" Su Nianxin's voice was icy. "Are you hoping something happens to my Mr. Chen?" Lu Han hurried to explain. "No, it is truly a misunderstanding. I was worried an imposter was pretending to be Mr. Chen." Su Nianxin ignored his explanation. Lu Han met my eyes again. I was looking at him too, and I did not seem angry. Lu Han picked up his medical case and walked over. "Mr. Chen, I was rude just now. I meant no harm. Please do not take it to heart." I gently shook my head. With a slight smile, I showed that I understood. Seeing that Su Nianxin showed no signs of a headache, Lu Han guessed he had been called to treat me. He asked, "Mr. Chen, where are you feeling unwell?" Instinctively, I tried to gesture, but Su Nianxin explained first. After he was rescued from the sea, he was unconscious for 2 years. When he woke up, he could not speak. His vocal cords were damaged. Examine him. Also, he has a sprained ankle. Check whether there will be any lasting effects. Lu Han stared at me in astonishment. A surge of sympathy rose in his heart. He had thought I was an imposter, but now saw me as a pitiful man whose life had been full of hardship. Looking at me, such a gentle, obedient boy, Lu Han's voice was so gentle, it seemed to drip with tenderness. Mr. Chen. My name is Lu Han. Do not worry. You will be fine. Everything will get better. Open your mouth wide. Let me take a look. I obediently did as he said. Lu Han watched me, and could not stop himself from wanting to pat my head. My skin was fair and smooth, with pores that were nearly invisible. Even my lashes were long. Lu Han could not help envying my appearance. I reminded him of a pet he once had. A beautiful, snow-white kitten. I was simply too lovable. A few more looks, and his heart would melt. His eyes crinkled warmly as he praised me. Such a good boy. If not for the fact that Lu Han had helped her before, Nianxin would have thrown him out without mercy. Mu was her husband. How could Lu Han look at him and speak to him like that? To Nianxin, her husband was not someone others could casually get close to. Her expression icy, she warned him. Dr. Lu, if you do not want your hands broken, behave yourself. Lu Han grumbled inwardly. This woman is far too overbearing. Is that really appropriate? After Lu Han left, Nianxin took me back to the bedroom. I could not speak, so Nianxin's was the only voice in the room. Anyone unaware of the truth might think she was talking to herself, asking and answering herself. They might think she was crazy. The thought made me chuckle softly. Nianxin did not know what I was laughing about. She was about to ask, when she saw me typing on my phone, "How have you been these past 3 years?" I already knew the answer, but I still wanted to hear her say it herself. Nianxin answered honestly, "Not well." Looking at her, I thought, without me by her side, how could she possibly have been well? These past 3 years had truly been hell for her. Nianxin did not tell me that sometimes the pressure of life had nearly left her unable to breathe. Even so, her care for me remained attentive in every little detail. I remembered that Nianxin had barely eaten at dinner. I did not know whether she lacked an appetite or if something else was wrong. Though I wanted to ask, I decided to watch her for now. I was deeply worried about her health. For 3 years, she had neglected herself, silently enduring every kind of hurt. That night, we held each other quietly. Before long, I drifted to sleep. Since waking from my coma, it was the most peaceful sleep I had known. But Nianxin was not so lucky. Though she was unusually free of headaches that night, she still woke in fright several times. She was terrified that I would suddenly vanish from her arms. Over the years, she had had far too many dreams like that. In those dreams, she held me tightly. But when she woke, her arms were empty. That crushing loss tormented her. The next morning, the first thing I saw upon waking was Nianxin's face. She had been awake for a while. Lying on her side, she rested her head on her arm, watching me intently. For a moment, I wondered if I was dreaming. I had seen this scene countless times in my dreams. But in every previous dream, she was gone when I woke. I often cried bitterly over it. I could hardly tell dreams from reality anymore. I closed my eyes, then opened them again. She was really there. I recalled being taken away by the Shi family, then fleeing from place to place. After being attacked on the street, I had run into Nianxin by chance, and then returned to the Su family. It all felt like a dream, too unreal to be true. I noticed one of Nianxin's arms tightly round my waist, making it difficult for me to turn over. Silently grumbling, I pulled the blanket over my entire face. I thought that way, she would not be able to see me. But before long, her delighted laughter sounded above me. I clutched the edge of the blanket tightly, determined to defend my tiny territory. Nianxin said helplessly, "If you keep this up, you will smother yourself, silly. You little fool." I had no choice but to uncover my face. My hair was a complete mess, and I was a little embarrassed for her to see it. So I pulled the blanket up again, leaving only a pair of clear, pure, doe-like eyes exposed. When Nianxin leaned closer, I hurriedly pulled the blanket up to cover my eyes again. But this time, she laughed even more happily. Through the blanket, she gently kissed my eyes. "Good morning, darling. Did you sleep well last night?" I nodded, then realized the blanket hid it. So I pulled it down and nodded gently. My obedient little gesture made Nianxin burst into laughter. Before I noticed, she suddenly threw back the blanket, then rolled over and pounced into my arms. We held each other tightly for a long time before getting up. When we finally walked into the dining room together, the table was completely filled with steaming hot breakfast dishes. Their tempting colors and rich aroma filled the room. It was an extravagant spread, enough to make anyone hungry at once. The servants secretly glanced at me, their hearts full of confusion. They did not know I had sprained my ankle. They only saw Miss Su helping me downstairs, and thought this man was terribly delicate. They simply could not understand what trick I had used to make Miss Su dote on me so much. Thinking of the late Mr. Chen, they thought to themselves, if he knew about this from heaven, he would be too furious to rest in peace. But I knew nothing of their thoughts, because these servants were all unfamiliar faces. Not one of the former servants remained. So Nianxin must have deliberately replaced them. Perhaps it was because of me as well. As I thought of this, a trace of guilt rose within me. If the truth came out, Su Nianxin would surely fly into a rage. As I was lost in thought, Su Nianxin's voice sounded beside me. I am going to the restroom. You eat first. Su Nianxin had barely turned to leave when a servant came out of the kitchen, carrying a bowl of hot soup. But in a moment of carelessness, the soup tureen suddenly tipped